So what is an offshore bank account? Offshore banking involves opening a bank account outside the country in which one lives. Now, is offshore banking legal? Yes, in fact, there are millions of law-abiding, ethical citizens who simply want to open bank accounts where they are treated the best. In fact, I've been in the offshore company and offshore banking industry since 1991. I believe we have over 65,000 clients in our database, and we're the largest offshore services and asset protection company in the U.S. Now, we want to help people who want to move money offshore ethically, legally, and especially while following all of the tax laws. So if you like this video, please click like below and ask any questions you might want to ask. In fact, I answer each one of them. And you can also click the subscribe button so that when I make new videos like this one, you'll get notified. Now, as we say at offshorecompany.com, people want to put their money in a place that is safe from lawsuits, where they have online access, and where they can use a debit card to access their money from anywhere in the world. Now think about it. When you open a bank account down the street, the bank does not have a little cubby hole with dollar bills stuffed in it under your name. Instead, they store your money as electronic code in a computer network with servers that are backed up around the world, right? An offshore bank simply uses the same computer network just like the bank down the street. So when you open an account in Switzerland, Cook Islands, or Belize, your money is accessible on the same computer network as Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or HSBC. Now think about it. Your bank account is not a building. It's not cash in a bank vault with a big heavy metal door. It's data on a worldwide computer network. So I'm going to explain how offshore banking works. We'll talk about how an offshore company ties into your bank account and why you should definitely open your account in a company name instead of your own name personally. Now, I just did a Google search a little while ago for the term world's safest banks. And today, the first website I saw was Wikipedia, where they list the 10 safest banks. Now, guess how many of those 10 safest banks were in the U.S.? What would you guess? 9, 6, or all 10? What would you think? How about a big fat 0? None. Not even one. Not even one U.S. bank was on the list. And the next Google listing was Global Finance, which is one of the best known organizations that rates banks for safety. In fact, they list 50 banks, and guess how many U.S. banks are on that list? Out of 50, only 4, all the way at the bottom of the list. In fact, the safest U.S. bank was at number 41. And oh, by the way, there were no major U.S. banks on the list. All 4, without exception, were tiny U.S. farming banks. Now, most people don't realize that there are 40 banks that are safer and more stable than even the safest U.S. bank. In fact, we have clients call us about putting their money offshore, and they ask, gosh, will my money be safe? And what they should be asking is my money safe now? Now think about it. If your money is in the U.S., for example, even the FDIC insurance should not give you comfort. And the reason is that it's backed up by the most in-debt country in the world, and that's not very secure. In fact, I was just told the FDIC doesn't have enough money. If there are 2 major bank failures, they'll be out of money, and you'll be out of luck. In fact, I just did a search and found the S&P 500 doesn't even give U.S. savings bonds a AAA rating. The U.S. government's credit rating has been downgraded to AA+, and at the moment, the only countries that have AAA rated credit include countries such as Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Singapore, and Switzerland, and we set up bank accounts in all of them. Now, some people think you can put your money over yonder and not pay taxes until you bring it back. Well, you could in the U.S. before 1964, but if you live in a Western developed nation, you pay taxes where you live, or in the U.S. where you are a citizen, regardless of where you live, with a bit of a tax break if you actually live overseas for 330 days a year or more. So typically the arrangement is tax neutral. That is, it doesn't increase or decrease your taxes. So plan on reporting your income on your tax returns back home. So what offshore banking does is, when combined with legal tools such as offshore LLCs and trusts, is that it can offer you the best asset protection from lawsuits on the planet. In fact, in the 29 years I've been in this business, I know of no client who has lost money in a lawsuit within one of our offshore trust structures. In addition to saving you from getting wiped out financially in a lawsuit, putting your money offshore can also give you higher rates of return. In fact, most of our clients in Switzerland enjoy returns averaging 8 to 12% annually over the long term in our managed bank accounts. So you have safer banks, protection from lawsuits, and you get better rates of return. Plus, it gives you investment options that aren't available back home. Now, some people think you can park money offshore and never tell anybody about it and hide it, and that's how people get richer. Now, those days are really gone. In fact, there are FATCA laws, the U.S. Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, and then there are OECD's Common Reporting Standards, which is the Global Automatic Exchange of Information, or AEOI, between tax authorities. So don't count on secrecy to evade the tax man. It's not going to happen. Now, what's really fascinating is the U.S. is not part of the Global Banking Information Sharing Network. So the U.S. has all the information on its own citizens worldwide, but the U.S. is one of the biggest tax havens for foreigners. You can even look on the IRS website. People who don't live in the U.S. are exempt from taxes on their U.S. interest income. That is, unless they have effectively connected income, ECI, where a foreign person engages in a trade or business in the United States, such as a manufacturing plant, for example. All income except for those sources within the United States from the conduct of that particular trade or business are U.S. income tax free. So what that means is you can put money in the U.S., get $250,000 of insurance under the FDIC, and that's important because the U.S. has likely more bank failures than about any country in the world. But the bottom line is you can earn interest on your money in the U.S., and the U.S. doesn't even report it to your home country. So offshore banking is not about hiding money. Instead, it is a way to protect assets from lawsuits and earn higher rates of return. Now, there are certain countries where you can earn 9 to 10% on your money. For example, Georgia, the country, not the state, Armenia, and New Zealand at about 4.5% right now. Now, that is as of this recording, so don't hold me to it if you watch this a year from now. And in Switzerland, that's 8 to 12% annualized over the long term for our clients in their managed investment accounts with very, very good safety. Now, setting up an offshore account can give you access to international mutual funds and other investments not available back home that can give you higher rates of return. So we have thousands of wealthy clients as well as those of modest means who have perfectly legal offshore bank accounts. And it is perfectly legal as long as it's reported, and as such, you get access to the financial system of the rest of the world. And with a proper legal tool, such as an offshore trust and LLC, you can have asset protection from lawsuits, better investments. Some of the best money managers in the world are in Switzerland. And we have thousands of happy clients who have accounts there, and they're getting about, as we say, 8 to 12% annually on an average over the long haul. Now, you have stronger, safer institutions offshore than you have onshore, as we covered. In fact, you can look it up for yourself at the world's safest banks. U.S. banks are strangely missing from the top 3/4 of the list. Now, one thing I should note is that for asset protection from lawsuits, you want number one, a bank account that does not have a branch in the country in which you live. For example, if you live in the U.S. and you hold your account in an asset protection trust, that's great. But if you use a bank that in Switzerland, that, for example, that also has U.S. branches, the courts can get the money from the U.S. branch of that bank. So you want a bank that does not have U.S. branches. Likewise, number two, you want a bank in a country that does not enforce judgments from your home country. So for the U.S. person, that takes Canada, Australia, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, France, Finland, and Germany off the list. So you don't want them to take a judgment into that country and slap a lien on your foreign bank account. So that's why it's important to put your money in a bank that does not recognize judgments from your home country. In fact, Nevis and Cook Islands are two great jurisdictions that do not recognize foreign judgments. So to conclude, I'm with offshorecompany.com, and if you want a way to protect your assets from lawsuits, gain wealth faster, and gain financial privacy, visit us at offshorecompany.com, fill out a free consultation form online, or give us a call at 1-661-310-2929 and ask to talk to a consultant. Thank you.